Hello, Defense Attorney Mark Rosenfeld here. I wanted to answer a common question that I get, and that is, how should I behave when I'm pulled over for a traffic stop? And it's just common sense. The first thing you want to do is be nice. You don't want to start a confrontation with the officer, and you just want to be calm and polite and as friendly as you can be. They know they're doing their job. They know that people aren't happy, but talking to them about being recorded or getting up in their face and starting a confrontation is not going to be helpful. So you want to be nice. And that dovetails in with the second point that I wanted to raise, which is you do not want to be memorable. You want to fade out of the officer's memory. The officer will make notes on a ticket or even an arrest report, and they may write on the back of a ticket as well, and we don't want to give them any more information or anything to remember you by. You want to be as polite and give limited information, but just fade into the background so the officer does not remember, because it may be 6 months before you get to court on a traffic ticket, and we don't want the officer to really have an independent recollection of events. We also want to make sure that we are treating the officer with respect with our physical body. We want to remain visible at all times. Officers are concerned. They don't know how many people are in a car or where the people are or what's going on. So just keeping your hands on the steering wheel, visible at all times. It's also a good idea to roll down the windows if you're being pulled over. You want to show the officer that you're not hiding anything, and you want them to be able to see what's going on. We also want to keep the interaction with the officer as short as possible. We don't want to do anything or say anything, and we don't want to extend the time that the officer is with you. The longer that this encounter takes, the more likely there's the possibility of something going wrong or it going further because they've seen or found something that could make it go longer. We also don't want to make any admissions. Many times when a police officer will walk up, they'll ask, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" And a lot of times people will say, "Because I was doing whatever." And this is an admission that can be used against you. And oftentimes now these statements are recorded either by a camera that's in the car with a lapel microphone that the officer is recording, or many officers have body-worn camera or their own digital cameras that they record. So be very careful. If the officer is asking you to make an admission, you don't want to do that. You also don't want to engage in any conversations that begin to take a long time. If the officer starts to ask where you're coming from or where you're going, this is not just a friendly conversation because the officer cares about you. This is an investigation the officer's doing, so we do not want to have any conversations. And we also do not want to have any consent. If the officer asks if they can search the car, the trunk, the bag, you're going to have to politely decline. We're not going to consent to any searches. We're not going to let them go through the glove box or anything like that. I know I said to put the windows down if the officer's coming up. That we want to do because we want the officer to see you and see who's in the car and be calm and not remember anything other than there was nothing there to see. But we do not want to consent to any searches. We do not want to consent to any delays where it's going to take us longer to get a ticket and move on if that's what's going to happen. If things are beginning to take longer and the officer is asking more questions, you are going to have to ask if you are free to leave. May I leave? This is not, again, a confrontation. We don't want to get in an argument, but we want to know, are we having a pleasant conversation because the officer is bored, or is this an investigation and you're not free to leave? And if you are free to leave, tell the officer to have a nice day and leave. If you're not free to leave, then warning bells should be going off and you are being detained, at which point you need to request a lawyer and you need to exercise your right to remain silent. If you're not free to leave, then if you haven't been arrested, it's pretty quick that the arrest may be coming, and the only thing the officer is doing is gathering more information. So we're not going to consent to any searches. We're not going to stay if we're free to leave, And if you are not free to leave, then you are going to request an attorney, and you are going to remain silent. If you've got questions about what to do during a traffic stop, please feel free to give me a call. I practice in Southern California. My office is in Beverly Hills, and you can reach me at 310-424-3145. Once again, this is attorney Mark Rosenfeld, 310-424-3145. Be safe.